Hello friends, welcome back to our video. Today we're going to talk about sunlight. In the previous videos we talked about water, we talked about exercise and then nutrition, but today we're going to talk about sunlight. I'm sure most of us know what sunlight is, and even the Bible surely recognizes sunlight. When you read Ecclesiastes 11:7, it says, "Truly the light is sweet, and a pleasant thing it is for the eyes to behold the sun." The sunlight is very important, and it is very nice. However, some people over-exaggerate the sunlight, and then they have too much of it. Now, like we said, too much of anything is always bad. So as much as we all need sunlight, but we also need to moderate the amount of sunlight that we receive, because of our exposure to sunlight can cause skin aging, it can cause skin cancer and maybe eye damage. In case you just look direct to the eye without having maybe the sunglasses, and so you don't need to really overexpose yourself to the sun, because it can cause very different diseases, cancer inclusive. So as much as we want the sun, we do not want too much of the sun. Now the most preferable sun that we would need is the morning or evening sunlight that always come at sunset and at sunrise. And it still also has to be moderated. 30 minutes in the morning and the evening would be enough. Now when we talked about exercises, we also talked about exercising in the morning in the free air. Now remember, in the morning is when the sun is rising, so when you get that fresh air combined with that sunlight, you have the best therapy ever. So we need the sunlight, but still we need to know how much we need and how much we do not need. And we do not need to overexpose ourselves, but yet we do not have to defile ourselves of the sunlight that we need. Now sunlight has a lot of benefits, some of which we might not even tackle because there are very many. But one of the benefits of sunlight is that it improves circulation of blood, and we have seen many things that improve the circulation of blood, exercise inclusive. So we are also seeing that sunlight also improves the circulation of blood. And the other use or the other benefit that sunlight can do is increasing the cardiac output. Now cardiac output is the amount of blood that is pumped by the heart with each contraction. So when you have enough sunlight, when you receive enough sunlight, you increase that cardiac output. Sunlight also increases oxygen carrying capacity in blood. As we are seeing, sunlight has a lot to do with our heart and our blood and all that, because it also helps to regulate the blood pressure towards the normal. So it does not just stop on the heart issues. In the heart, it also goes back to the blood pressure. It is an important thing. I wish we could talk about a lot of the benefits of sunlight, but we might not exhaust them because there are many. It also increases the number of white blood cells, and we saw that white blood cells are the cells that help us to fight against disease. So, that means it also helps us to boost our immune system if we have enough sunlight. There is a protein called gamma globulin which helps the body to also fight infection, and this protein also is increased by the sunlight. And sunlight is also effective in treatment of jaundice. Now jaundice is a disorder that usually is suffered by newborns, and one of the signs is the baby becomes yellow. When you have enough sunlight, you prevent this. When you have enough sunlight, when you expose your baby to enough sunlight, it can be one of the treatments of that disorder. Now, sunlight can also help in improving the liver function, and we also know we know that liver has a lot to do with detoxification of the body. It is maybe what we would call the dustbin of our body. Yeah, So sunlight also improves in the liver function, and of course now when we talk about the liver, like we said, it collects all what we could call garbage, all the toxic chemicals and the environmental pollutants that we receive in our bodies. And the sunlight plays a very big role in improving the function of the liver. Now, sunlight also stabilizes blood sugar levels or glucose levels in our body. When it's high, it lowers it. When it's low, it also increases it. So we really need this sunlight. The way it lowers the blood sugar is, it doesn't do it directly. Sunlight does not reduce the blood sugar below a normal level. It doesn't affect it directly, but at the same time, if it has to lower the blood glucose, it doesn't lower it below the normal. It has a perfect way of balancing the two, stabilizing. If it's high, it lowers it. If it's low, it increases it, but it doesn't exceed the normal levels. So you have to be sure that it doesn't cause more harm unless you have overexposure. Sunlight can also lower cholesterol. Now, cholesterol is one of it's actually the thing that causes obesity most times. Cholesterol is like fat, and so it piles into the blood vessels, and then you find yourself one of the bad things that this cholesterol does. It reduces the surface area where the blood passes in the vessels, so you have problems with pumping blood, you have problems with transporting blood, so it causes more harm. So sunlight may increase cholesterol by more than 30%. Very amazing. So if you expose yourself to that sunlight, it can reduce that cholesterol. We all know that when a fat, for example, is put under heat, that fat can melt. So this sunlight can also help in lowering the cholesterol. And sunlight also takes part in conversion of that cholesterol and the cholesterol in the skin to vitamin D. Most of us didn't know how this vitamin D comes about, but that's how it does. It converts this cholesterol. Now, vitamin D is very, very, very much important because it plays a part in the metabolism of calcium and then phosphorus, which are essential for bone and teeth development. Most of us have seen children who have suffered from deformity of bones and very weak teeth because they have not received enough sunlight. So you be sure that as you raise your child, make sure they get enough exposure to sunlight so that they can avoid some of these things. It also helps muscle tone and endurance. When we talked about exercise, we talked about exercising outdoor and not indoor. So when you're exercising outdoor, you receive the sunlight that develops the muscles, compared to when you're doing indoor exercises like the gymming that we were talking about. Now, another thing that the sunlight can do is increasing body metabolism. This is by stimulating the thyroid gland function. It's a lot of science, but just know that it increases the body metabolism. And then another thing that we can talk about sunlight is when sunlight comes through the eyes to the pineal gland and affects the pituitary gland. This controls the hormone production of the other endocrine glands in a beneficial way. I would want us to break it down, but it will be a long story. But in short, sunlight is very, very important. It also enhances mental outlook, it lessens stress, it promotes healing. There are some diseases that don't need any other therapy apart from sunlight. Like when we talked about jaundice, it might not be the only therapy, but it's one of the important therapies that you can use in some of the particular diseases. So sunlight is very important. Most of the times we do not aerate our homes well enough, well, that is a topic for another day. But I'm trying to say that when you open the windows and the doors of your house, then you're allowing both air and sunlight, and it makes the home very attractive. It makes the home very, it makes it a little heaven for the children to play around, and even the elder yourself, you also benefit from the sunlight. So it's good that you do not keep your windows closed, open a little bit, receive that sunlight, and it will be beneficial. There are many more benefits of sunlight that we can talk about, but we shall just stop at that. And I just hope that we learn something from this and we do something about it. It's not good to learn something and then you ignore it. So may God really bless us that we shall be able to expose ourselves to sunlight as much as we can, and we shouldn't overexpose ourselves so that we suffer from the diseases that can be avoided. Thank you so much for being with us, and I hope that we shall be together yet in another video. May God bless you. Bye-bye.
Join us as we unpack this free gift that God has given to us with no cost, with no dime, with no money, with no dollar, with no shilling, with nothing. Greetings, friend. My name is Nahabwe Charity Talent, and I have two questions for you. One of which is, do you know that there are some of the things that you do that shorten your life? And do you know that there are some of the things that you do that prolong your life? Well, I have good news for you in case you didn't know. This series that we are going to start are going to fill us with the things that we are supposed to do so that we can have a very good life, a very healthful living, some of which have a lot to do with nutrition, others have a lot to do with our lifestyle, what we do, what we do not do, what we're supposed to do, what we are required of. Well, it's not only about that. We are going to learn a lot of things like a formula called New Start, nutrition, exercise, water, temperance, air, and all those things that you're going to be looking at. You can join us by subscribing, and you can still click that notification button so that when the video is premiered, you will be the first one to get to know of it. May God bless you. I hope that you will be blessed in this series that you're going to have, like I have benefited since I got to know about them.